Matilda is a what? So Matilda is a Charlize Valdez from Hughes 5, and today I'm gonna do a book review on Roald Dahl's book called Matilda. So Matilda is a children's book and its genre is fiction, and under fiction it's fantasy. So later, you'll see why it is classified as fantasy. It tells the story of a young girl who is ignored by her parents. Due to the fact that she was always neglected by her parents. In turn, she pulled pranks on them. One was actually her trying to glue her father's hat with her super glue on his head. Now fast forward to when Matilda started going to school. She meets Miss Honey, who is so amazed by her ability. She wanted Matilda to move to a higher class because she is so advanced for her age. But it was denied by Miss Agatha Trunchbull, the headmistress of the school. Throughout the book, Matilda and Miss Honey's friendship grew stronger and stronger. Matilda finds out later in the book that Miss Honey was raised by an abusive aunt. And even later in the book, we find out that the abusive aunt was Miss Trunchbull herself. You see, Miss Honey lives in a small cottage in an old farmhouse, living in poverty. That is because Miss Trunchbull is withholding Miss Honey's inheritance from her father. Knowing these things, Matilda decides to avenge Miss Honey. In the book, it is mentioned that Matilda has the power of telekinesis, or she can control things with her mind. Because Matilda has powers, she decided to train herself and become better at her craft so that she could avenge for Miss Honey. During class one day, Matilda uses her powers of telekinesis to lift up a chalk and to write things down on a chalkboard. She pretends to be the ghost of Miss Honey's late father, telling Miss Trunchbull to hand over Miss Honey's supposed to be fortune. Because of this, Miss Trunchbull did leave the town and, of course, the school. So she was replaced by a headmaster, Mr. Trilby. Since Mr. Trilby is the new headmaster, he decided to move Matilda up to a higher class. Once there, she discovered that she no longer has the ability to lift things up with her mind. So Matilda continues with school and visiting Miss Honey and all of that. One day, she comes home and sees her parents packing. They're running from the police because her father stole some cars. Matilda asks her parents if she could live with Miss Honey, and unsurprisingly, they said yes. And that's where the story ends. Matilda and Miss Honey live together happily. I recommend this book to kids and adults alike because kids will know that education doesn't stop at the four corners of a classroom. Real substantial learning is not just confined to the four corners of the classroom. Rather, in this book, it is shown that school is a horrible place because, well, of course, of Miss Trunchbull. Because, well, who would like to see your principal, grab the girl students by their pigtails and throw them around? And also, one important idea that I have read in this book is that family in this book is something that you make for yourself. Family is where you actually feel like home. You actually feel safe. You feel loved. And in her actual house, Matilda didn't feel any of those. She just felt neglected, and they even made her feel like she was that much of a burden. When I first read this book, I had really conflicting thoughts on when Matilda's parents just let her go easily and let her live with Miss Honey. I mean, yeah, it is evidently shown in the book that they just hate her, they despise her, and they don't even want to even look at her. But I don't get how parents can do that. I mean, it's fictional, yes, but I just don't get it. You raise a child, you carry them in your womb for 9 months, and you're just gonna let them go that easily? Well, truly, Roald Dahl's book is a classic. It tackles realistic concepts even though the book is actually fantasy. The book also taught me that with grit, I can overcome anything. Like when I was a kid, I read this and I was so inspired. When I was a kid, I really used to love reading fantasy books. So this one, well, it's in a realistic setting, unlike the other books. So I was really surprised when I read this. Though my favorite part about the book is when Matilda discovered her powers. It was when Miss Trunchbull was reprimanding her. A glass of water was in Miss Trunchbull's desk, and Matilda was really mad at Miss Trunchbull and was even shouting at her. In this generation, a lot of students don't feel like they're learning or getting something from the four corners of the classroom. Instead, they learn something more even outside the classroom. And that's what happens here also. Also, yeah, the teachers who are terrors. So, 21st century literature is more on breaking the bounds of what we define literature as. It often breaks traditional writing rules. And well, it deals with current themes and issues that are surrounding our society nowadays. In 21st century literature class, I learned to be more of a critical reader, a critical thinker. Um, During discussions, sometimes I have really a lot of ideas, but I am just too shy to share to the class. Well, now I regret those because I won't be doing it anymore. So, well, next time, I guess. What else? Also, yeah, whenever we share something to the class, you don't dismiss it or label it as right or wrong. Our ideas mix and mix until they create a good mixture. That's what I like the most about 21st century literature class. That's why I look forward to it. That's all for my book review, and see you next time!